राधे राधे, दंडवत प्रणाम। Page 1, Mangalacharan.
संबंध विज्ञान दहिने प्रभवे
विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनकारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्धाप सिद्धन्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधि पदम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टासजनप्रिय वैष्णव सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथायते नमः वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतो पङ्गो मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वप्नम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो नित्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदो श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठानिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे वंशीवततस्थितः कर्षन्मे स्मरैर्गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीस्तु नः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णा भक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्वेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहा दावाग्निनिर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मस्वपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम् हरेर्नामेव केवलं कलो नास्त्येव गतिरन्यथा हरे Page 40, Kripa Karo, Vaishnava Thakur. Shuddha Bhagata, Charanalim, Bhajan Anukul. Today here is Ekadashi, so we will sing that bhajan. Shuddha Bhagata, Charana Renu.
216.
What page?
216.
216. Wasn't before better?
Of course you are.
I was thinking maybe Nityananda Prabhu first.
Can you tell us more about the Yeah, let me look.
Here's a nice one about Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu. By Narottam Das Thakur, page 91, Dhanamor Nityananda, Patimor Gaurachandra.
What is it, 91?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need that.
I don't. That's what's stopping me. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Bodhana Mora Nityananda Pati Mora Gaura Chandra Dhana Mora Prana Mora Juga We do Radha and Krishna together in Anupama Madhuri Jodi Hamare Shyam.
Sure. What page?
Page 364 in this book, Anupama Madhuri Jodi Hamare Shyam Shyama Ki. Anupama Madhuri Jodi Hamare Shyama Shyama Ki. Anupama Madhuri Jodi
Hamare Shyama Shyama
Rasi रस भरी आँखियाँ हमारे श्याम श्यामा की।
रसी रस भरी आँखियाँ हमारे श्याम श्यामा
अनुपम माधुरी जोड़ी हमारे श्याम
my favorite one, the Krishna Chandra.
Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitarang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Use the other one, the other chord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yashkripatamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times into the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudeva, Nitya Lila Pravishna Vishnupad, Ashtotar Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaja. In the same unto the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishna Vishnupad, Ashtotar Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, and all of you who are watching on Facebook live stream, who are trapped in your homes at this time, I'm offering all my Dandavat Pranam. So today, we are continuing with remembering the pastimes of Sri Ram and his devotees, as we have received from our Gurudev and Guru Varga. Yesterday, I ended with discussing about how Sri Ram and Lakshman and Sita were in the forest, but Sita had just been kidnapped by Ravan. And so Sri Ram was crying, searching everywhere for Sita. And then I told the history of how the wife of Mahadev, Parvati, that time she was Uma, she became quite concerned why her husband is praying to this ordinary human being who is crying in separation from his wife, when she herself knew exactly where Sita went. How is it possible? So I told the history of how she tried to test Ram, and Ram said, "Oh mother, please, don't disturb my Leela." And this is a very important lesson for all of us, that we should not try to disturb the Leela of the Lord. To disturb the Leela, or to inject some other sentiment which is not favorable to the pastimes of the Lord, this is called ras abhas. And no pure devotee, I'm quoting Srila Prabhupada, likes to hear ras abhas. Not only do they not like to hear it, why do they not like to hear it? Because it's disturbing to the Lord. For example, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here to Vrindavan, you don't want to say to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "You are Krishna, you are Krishna, you are Krishna." He is Krishna endeavoring to taste the bhav, the moods of Srimati Radhika, her love and affection for Krishna. And if you keep impressing upon him, "You are Krishna, you are Krishna," then you're disturbing the mood that he is endeavoring to experience. So the devotee's mood is only how to serve, how to please, how to make Krishna happy for his benefit, for his pleasure. We don't do things for our pleasure. Otherwise it cannot be considered bhakti. Even if any devotee is experiencing extreme ecstasy while they are serving the Lord, if that ecstasy comes and stops them from serving the Lord. For example, when Daruka was banning Krishna with the chamar, at that time, he saw that the life airs of his body were like every hair of that chamara, and they were offering themselves unto the lotus feet of Krishna. When he saw Krishna's devotee reciprocating with his loving service, so much ecstasy manifested within his heart that he fell unconscious. When he awoke from that unconscious state, he began condemning that ecstasy. Damn this ecstasy which has stopped me from my seva. So even the ecstasy which comes as a result of seva, if it stops the seva, the devotee does not want that thing. What to speak of disturbing the Lord, causing some difficulty to him. The devotee never wants to cause this to the Lord. So we will hear so many pastimes today, especially about the greatest devotee of Sri Ram, Sri Hanuman, about his nature of devotion, love and service to Sri Ram. Before I tell about the pastimes of Hanuman and Ram in the forest, I wanted to just reaffirm one thing, that Ram is none other than Krishna. Our Gurudeva said, I read it today, that when Krishna and Srimati Radhika want to experience Maryada, means this kind of mood of rules and regulations and everyone in relation to them responding like that, then they manifest as Sita and Ram. Actually, there is no difference. Once upon a time, Hanuman was in Ayodhya chanting the name of Ram, and Krishna was in Dwarka, and Krishna told Garuda, tell Hanuman I want to see him. So Garud flew from Dwarka to Ayodhya. Hanuman is there chanting Ram, 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 Ram. Garud went to Hanuman. Just now Krishna would like to see you. Come immediately. Hanuman said, yes, yes, just now coming. And Garud flew back to Dwarka. Krishna and Garud were waiting. Oh, he's taking a long time. Krishna told Garud, you should go back and tell Hanuman, just now your Prabhu, Ram, is in Dwarka and he is calling you. At that time, Garud flew back. He told Hanuman, oh Hanumanji, yes, just now your Prabhu Ram is calling you. He wants to see you in Dwarka. Hanuman said, just now coming. As Garud was flying back toward Dwarka, he saw Hanuman coming from the direction of Dwarka toward him. And he said, what happened? He said, oh, I have gone, I have seen him, everything is okay, so now I'm going back to Ayodhya to continue my chanting. So this small Leela is showing how one should be one-pointed, ekantik, to their particular Ishtadev. Hanuman sees Krishna only as Ram. And when he sees Krishna, he only sees that Krishna is a manifestation of Ram. And Garud sees Dwarkadish Krishna or Vaikuntadish Krishna. Even when he sees Ram, he sees his Prabhu. And the Brajavasis, they only see Brajendranandan, Shyamasundar, Krishna everywhere. This is also proven in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went to see Jagannath, because he is Krishna, Radha Bhava Duty Subalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam, because he's Krishna, but experiencing the bhava of Srimati Radhika, Chaitanya Charitamrita said, he did not see Jagannath as Narayan or Dwarkadish or the Lord of the universe. He saw him as Sakshat Brajendranandan. Gujay Sevya Venum Shirashishiki Picham Katitate Tukulam Netrante Sahachara Kataksham Viradate Sada Srimad Vrindavana Vasati Lila Parichayo Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patakami Bhavatume Rasanandi Radha Sarasavapur Alingana Sukho. He sees, he in the bhav, with the mood of Srimati Radhika, is seeing Jagannath as Braj Krishna, who's happy upon embracing Srimati Radhika. Krishna who's wearing a peacock feather, playing a flute, residing in Vrindavan, casting sidelong glances upon his gopis. This Krishna. So this is the bhav of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We don't want to disturb his bhav. We don't want to disturb the bhav of Sri Ram as he's performing his pastime. Then you go, He's completely absorbed in this Lila, weeping, crying, searching, where is my Sita? Where is my Sita? And the consort of Mahadev is standing in front of him, posing as Sita, saying, I'm here, I'm here. And he says, please don't disturb my pastime. Don't disturb my Lila. Now this is a very, very important lesson for all of us. That we should be careful to serve the Lord in the way that is for His happiness, for His pleasure, and for His benefit. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu states in the last verse of Sri Shikshashtakam, Ashlishyava padaratam pinashtamam adarshanan marmahatam karotva yata tata viridhatu lampato mat prananatas sa eva naparaha. The mood of the devotee is that, my Lord, you can do whatever you like with me. If you want to break my heart, you can do so. You can embrace another in front of me. You can kick me away forever. You can do whatever you like with me. This will not change the mood in my heart. This will not change my love for you. The nature of love, prem, is that even though there might be every reason for it to break, not only does it not break, but it continues to increase more and more forever. This is the nature of prem. So the devotee's mood is only how to serve the Lord, how to please the Lord. And if it pleases the Lord that I suffer, then let me suffer. This is a hard pill to swallow. But really, this is the mood of the devotee. The devotee does not want any material benediction. Like Mahaprabhu is saying, Nadhanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitam, Va, Jagarisha Kame. I don't want this wealth and beautiful poetry and so many followers and all of these things. What do I want? Mama Janmani, Janmani Shware Bhavatar Bhakti Rahoitaki Tvai. I only want that birth after birth I may have bhakti for you. So Ram, Lakshman, they're searching everywhere for Sita. When Sita was kidnapped by Ravan, at that time, the old eagle friend of Dasharath Maharaj, his name was Jatayu, he saw that Sita was crying out. She was being kidnapped by this demon who had approached her in the form of a sannyasi. There's a very valuable lesson in that. These days, for every one real guru or real sannyasi, there are thousands and thousands of fakes. And they come like Ravan, dressed as a sadhu. But their only mood is how to take what belongs to the Lord and use that energy, that Shakti, the consort of the Lord, Lakshmi, which is represented in our lives as money, for my own enjoyment. Instead of using everything for the service of the Lord, we want to use it all for our own service. So taking anything in this world to use for our own enjoyment, this is, as our Guru Parampara, our Guru Varga have told. Who is it? Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj? Prabhupada. Ravan mentality. Ravan mentality. He wants to take the Shakti of the Lord, his own Lakshmi, Sita Devi, and use Sita for his own enjoyment. So this is not only the false gurus and false sannyasis of this world. This means every single one of us. That demonic nature that is present within every single one of us. Which in Treta Yuga, Ram directly killed. But in Kali Yuga, because the demon and devotee are in the same body, Sri Nityananda Prabhu stopped Mahaprabhu from killing Jagai and Madai. He was calling for his chakra, chakra! And he wanted to chop off their heads. Nityananda Prabhu stopped him and said, no, this is not your purpose this time. In Treta Yuga, the demons and devotees were in different families. Satya Yuga, even on different planets. But in Treta Yuga, at the time of Sri Ram, they were in different families. In Dvapara Yuga, in the same family. Krishna and Kamsa in the same family. In Kali Yuga, they are in the same body. So Nityananda Prabhu said to Mahaprabhu, what are you going to do? Kill everyone? At that time Nityananda Prabhu said, if you give your mercy to these two, then everyone will know your glory. So Nityananda Prabhu at that moment broke open the dam of mercy. And that dam breaking, the flood of praying went everywhere. Ghare ghare bule prem amiya ravan. It went everywhere. Only those who are duplicitous, who are liars, cheaters, they, Srila Gaudiya Maharaj said, they floated. They weren't able to drown in that praying. So in Kali Yuga, the process for awakening the devotee and for destroying the demon, the astra, the weapon of Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Jatayu was fighting Ravan. He was a very powerful eagle. He was not any ordinary bird. And they fought very, very intensely for quite a long time. Jatayu was even making some good, damage to Ravan and his chariot. But eventually, Ravan cut the wings and talons of Jatayu. And Jatayu, as he was about to leave this world, he was telling to Ram and Lakshman that I saw Ravan kidnapped your wife Sita and he was taking her to the south with him. From that chariot, as Ravan was taking Sita toward the south, she was leaving clues. She was dropping her jewelry and calling out for Ram, calling out for his help. We already explained yesterday that no demon can actually really touch the pure Shakti of the Lord. So already, at the time of Ram killing Karan Dushan, at that time, he handed Sita Devi into the care of Agni Dev and then took Maya Sita. Ravan kidnapped Maya Sita, not the real Sita. But anyway, for the purpose of this Leela, we see that Ravan kidnapped Sita. And she's crying out for Ram, and Ram is completely devastated, searching for her, finding so many clues. Finally, he came up to one point. There's one thing I wanted to share at this point. Garuda also saw that Ram was weeping and crying. And he also began to doubt. How is it possible that this is my Prabhu? This is an amazing thing, that the eternal associates of the Lord can begin to doubt. Because technically it's not possible. But the Supreme Lord has a very special kind of potency. It is called Aghatana Ghatana Patiyasi Shakti. The power to make the impossible possible. So with Lord Shiva even, Vishnu, by his own Maya manifested Mohini Murti, and Shiva himself was bewildered. When Krishna stole when Brahma stole the cows and the calves and the cowherd boys, at that time Krishna manifested exact duplicates of all the calves and cowherd boys. And for 1 year, Baladev Prabhu did not know, although he is non-different from Krishna himself. And he became a bit perturbed. How is it that Krishna hid this from me? Krishna hid it from Baladev. Baladev should know everything, but that, Krishna hid it from him. And also, sometimes the pure devotees, like Garuda, or Parvati, by the power of the Lord, by Yogamaya potency, it appears that they can be bewildered. Garuda was saying, how is it possible that my Lord is crying like this? This cannot be my Prabhu. So he approached, on the instruction of Narad Muni, he approached Shankar. He approached Shiva. I don't understand. How can this be possible? My Lord is weeping like this? No, this cannot be my Prabhu. Shiva said, I don't have any time. You should go and speak. Shiva gave him an instruction. You should go and speak with one old crow. His name is Kakubhushandi. What was this? This was a lesson in humility. Garud is the king of the eagles, the king of all birds. And yet he was ordered to go and learn from a crow who's considered the lowest of all birds. So he went to Kakubushundi and for many years heard the glories of the Lord, heard Ram Katha. And then he realized by that not only the greatness of Ram and that he is the Supreme Lord himself, but he also realized the greatness of this Kakubushundi. And by that he realized humility. This is also a very great lesson for us. Just because someone appears to be amazing and high-placed and powerful, this does not necessarily mean that they are. And just because someone appears to be lowly, someone appears to be maybe crippled, someone appears to have so many defects within them, if they have love for the Lord, this surpasses everything else. It surpasses everything else. So this Kakubushundi, although he appeared very lowly, as an old crow, still, because of his love for the Lord, Garuda was able to learn from him, to hear from him, and develop humility. In Sri Upadeshamrita, Rupa Goswami tells, Drishtai Svabhava Janitai, Vapushashta Doshai, Na Prakritatvam Iha Bhakta Janasya Pashyat, Gangam Basham Nakul Bud Budupe Na Pankar, Brahma Dravatvam Apagachati Niradharmai. That one should overlook the external apparent defects of a pure devotee. For example, Srila Gaudiya Vaishnavism Babaji Maharaj. He couldn't read and he couldn't even write his own name. He was illiterate. And yet his heart was overflowing with love and affection for the Lord. He was so devoted and so dedicated that when Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Prabhupada, one of the most amazing, intelligent persons from my perspective in all time, in all of existence, met him, the first thing he told to Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur was, all the knowledge, all of the information that you have collected through the medium of your senses, it is all useless. You should take it and throw it in the ocean and come back with a clean slate. Saraswati Thakur said that at that time, it was such a shock to me. I was thinking, either he's not real, or he has something so great that he finds everything that I value so much to be absolutely insignificant. He said, so I took shelter of the Lord and prayed to him desperately for some truth in this regard. And he said, by great fortune, I was able to take shelter of my Gurudeva. And then he said, I realized that unless others are similarly shocked, they also will not be able to come to their senses. He said it was that shock that woke me up. That's why our gurus, they are strong with us because we require it. Unlimited lifetimes of only being bound in samsara, tasting birth, disease, old age, death, temporary flickering happiness, and so many miseries, adhyatmic, adibautic, adidaivic. It's very difficult for us to leave what we are so accustomed to. Sri Guru comes into our life, and with the sword of transcendental knowledge, the sadhu cuts at our anarthas in the form of harsh language. With harsh language, that language which goes against our enjoying tendency, for the purpose of waking us up to our real nature, which is that we are meant to love and serve Krishna for himself. This is the only thing that will satisfy us and make us happy, and also make Krishna happy. So this is their function. This is the only function of the sadhus, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Prabhupada says. So now, going back to the forest, Ram and Lakshmana are searching everywhere, periodically finding some jewelry here and there that Sita has dropped off. But Ravan has taken her very, very far, all the way to Lanka, which is now Ceylon, Sri Lanka, the island.
City made entirely of gold.
south of India. And Ravan lived in a city made entirely of gold. Can you imagine? It is said that he had tunnels dug to different countries of the world and was extracting gold from all of these places to build his city in pure gold. So, as Ram and Lakshman were moving south, they came upon one sadhu. And that sadhu was asking them, why are you crying? What are you searching for? What's going on? And they explained their story to this sadhu. And then that sadhu revealed his real form. His real form was Hanuman. Pavan Putra Hanuman ki jai. So Hanuman, his nature, his intrinsic nature, eternally, is as a servant of Ram. He has praying for Ram in dasya ras, pure servitude for Ram. So his intrinsic, inherent nature was to serve and assist Ram in every way. And our Srila Gurudeva explained that bhakti or praying must be under guidance. This is the main function of bhakti, is that it is anukul. Anukul, this anu means also not only favorable, but anugatya means under guidance. He said, who is Hanuman under guidance of? Who is Hanuman under guidance of? He said Hanuman, in his original form, is Lord Shiva or Gopishwar Mahadev. Who is Lord Shiva meditating on? Shankarshan. Who is Sankarshan's original form? Baladev Prabhu. Baladev Prabhu has manifested in Ram Lila as Lakshman. So Hanuman is taking all instruction from Lakshman how to serve Sri Ram. Our Gurudev explained this point. Does that make sense?
Yes, I was just thinking of Radha Prabhu.
He's glorifying her there, but his guru and his
Yes.
Ishtadev is
Yes.
Sankarshan.
Yeah.
That's why Mahadev is always sitting there chanting. He's chanting the name Ram, 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 Ram. Our Gurudev explained this is Sankarshan Ram or Balaram. So, Hanuman, immediately hearing their story, he told Ram and Lakshman, oh, you should come with me to the place of the monkey king Sugriva. There's some difficulty, so if you help him out of his difficulty, he will help you out of your difficulty. I'm certain of it. But it was very, very far away. So immediately Hanuman offered to Ram and Lakshman, I will carry you on my shoulders. I'm very strong. I will carry you on my shoulders and we will arrive there very quickly. So his first seva to Sri Ram was giving them the good news that they will have help. And then immediately he became the chariot of Ram and Lakshman. He was carrying them all the way to the kingdom of Sugriva in the south. And there was a kingdom of Vanaras. Vanaras are not exactly monkeys and they're not exactly humans. They're also very intelligent, they're very powerful, they're warriors, but they also have a monkey-like side to them. So there, when Ram arrived there, so many pastimes took place. So many valuable lessons also took place. But time is of the essence. So at that time, Ram helped Sugriva to regain his kingdom, which had been taken away by a very powerful Vanara named Vali. So Ram actually killed this Vali. Vali had taken the wife of Sugriva and assumed the kingdom. So Ram helped Sugriva to regain his kingdom, to regain his wife, and Sugriva engaged all of the Vanaras, in searching for Sita. So they knew that Sita had gone to the south. They were searching everywhere and finding all of the clues that she had dropped. They went everywhere, all the way to the furthest reaches of the south, but could not find her anywhere. So they realized, maybe she's gone somewhere else, further. At that time, they went all the way to the south, and Jambavan told Hanuman. Actually, see, Hanuman, because when he was younger, he was creating a lot of mischief, as Vanaras did. The monkey side of him was very mischievous. So the sages cursed him that you should not realize your own power until it's absolutely necessary. So he had no idea of how powerful or how strong he was. But now the time became necessary. At that time, Jambavan, who was the king of the bears, and we know of Jambavan from the history of Krishna fighting Jambavan. I think it was 21 days and 21 nights, Dwarkadish Krishna. Finally he defeated Jambavan, and then he married Jambavan's daughter, Jambavati. This is the same Jambavan who was there in the pastimes of Sri Ram. So this Jambavan told Hanuman of his history, how he's actually the son of the wind, how powerful he really is, how much strength he really has, because it was necessary at this time to help and serve Sri Ram. So in the service of the Lord, in the service of the Lord's pure devotees, someone who might not have even realized that they have any ability might suddenly manifest every ability. Imagine if you've never washed clothes by hand before. And then I told you, these are Srila Gurudev's clothes. He needs them washed before tomorrow morning. I have so many other sevas I have to do. So I'm trusting you with this. I've never done it before. But how would you do it? With such great care, such great attention. You would do it with love and affection so nicely. Then you would dry it nicely. Then you would iron it and make sure it was folded perfectly. Even though maybe with your own clothes you don't fold it perfectly. But for Gurudev, for Krishna, you might have the ability will manifest to be able to serve. So suddenly, Hanuman's abilities were all manifesting for the purpose of serving Sri Ram after he was told by Jambavan. At that time, Hanuman, he needed to search everywhere. So they knew there was an island south of India, this Sri Lanka. Hanuman assumed a massive, massive size. You cannot imagine how big. But he grew and grew to a very massive size. And then taking a couple steps back, he leapt. Some people think Hanuman flies, but I've never read that he flies. He jumps and he can leap very far distances in a single bound. So Hanuman leapt from that place and went to Lanka. Because Hanuman is full of all mystic powers, not only can he make himself big, massive, but another mystic power is exactly the opposite of that. One can make themselves extremely small. So upon arriving in Lanka, on the way to Lanka, of course, he fought many demons. He killed so many demons. But then when he arrived in Lanka, he had made himself very, very small and began to search everywhere for Sita. As he was searching, he went in so many different places. And he learned so much about this place. He found out that this was the place of Radha. So he knew Sita must be here somewhere. He was searching everywhere. Where is she? Where is she? He went to Ravan's quarters, even Ravan's palace. But there he could not find her. As he was searching, finally he came upon a beautiful Ashoka grove. And in that grove, he saw a very beautiful, beautiful lady, but she was also very sad. I don't remember the detail. Seeing her, he was thinking, oh, this must be Sita. So very carefully, from a distance, he began to approach her. And she thought maybe he was sent by the demons to harm her. But he told her, no, I have come from Ram. And she still was a little bit mistrusting. But then he said, I have brought his ring for you. Because Ram said, if you find her, show her this and she will know that it has come from me. So he presented Ram's ring to Sita. And she became so happy. Immediately he wanted to take her. He said, come with me. I will take you back to Ram. But her principle was so great, I will never touch any other male person. Also, naturally, she also does not want to disturb the Lila of the Lord. So, Ram's Lila must continue. including the part where his manifestation comes for the purpose of killing the demons, annihilating the miscreants. So Sita would not go with Hanuman. But Hanuman was already very angry as he was searching everywhere. So as he was there, then he began eating all of the fruits in the nearby gardens. He began swinging from tree to tree. It is said he even destroyed a local forest there. In Ramayana it is told. And because he was making such a ruckus, the demons came after him and he was killing many of them. But finally he was captured and he was brought in front of Ravan. He wanted to go in front of Ravan. And Ravan is like, oh, so you've been sent by that Ram, you are a spy. What do we do with spies? First he wanted to kill him, but he was instructed, this is an animal, you shouldn't just kill an animal. Besides, he's a messenger. It's not righteous to just kill a messenger. He said, okay, so what punishment will we give him? Ravan decided, we should set fire to his tail and then let him go to teach him a lesson. So they set fire to the tail of Hanuman. Of course, we know that Hanuman can change his size. So immediately Hanuman was able to escape his shackles. And what did he do with his tail set on fire? He danced and jumped from building to building and set the entire city of Lanka on fire. He was feeling so much anger toward Ravan for kidnapping Sita. So he completely burnt the entire city of Lanka and thousands of the demons, Rakshasas, who were citizens of that place. And then he went back to Ram to tell Ram of his findings there. Sita had also given him a token of her own to bring to Ram. So when Hanuman went back to Ram, he told Ram everything that he had seen and everything that he had done. In this case, our Srila Gurudeva speaks about how Hanuman, he went above and beyond the protocol of his duty. Our Srila Gurudeva said that there are different kinds of servants, different kinds of disciples. The lowest quality servant, even though he has the ability, still he does not follow the instruction of his master. He might do a little something, but he won't follow it properly. The mediocre servant, he will only do what he is told, and only that. But the best servant, not only does he follow the instruction that's given to him, he also understands the heart of his master, and goes above and beyond to do more for the service of the master than even the service has requested or required. Hanuman was this kind of servant. So when Hanuman came back, Ram was so pleased with what Hanuman had found and with the information Hanuman had given. But also Hanuman became somewhat concerned. I was so angry. I just burned down Lanka. Oh my God. What if I also burnt Sita? He began to be a little concerned within his heart. What have I done? In this case, our Gurudev, he said, I remember we were in Fiji with him. He was speaking on the first verse of Upadeshamrita. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. There were about 5 or 6 of us sitting at his feet. He said Vacho Vegam means to control one's urge to speak. We talked about this the other day. When Sita said those harsh words to Lakshman, she did not control her urge to speak. And as a result of this, Lakshman went away, and then Ravan was able to kidnap her. Manasavega means to control the urges of the mind. How? By engaging the mind in everything in relation to bhakti. Always thinking about Krishna. Our Gurudev said you cannot control your mind. It is quite impossible. Arjuna told Krishna, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. The mind is so restless. It is easier to control the wind or the waves in the ocean than to control this wicked mind. Our Gurudev said, don't try to control it, but put a boundary around it. What is that boundary? Chaurasi Kosh, Braj Mandal. to put the boundary of Vrindavan. And within Vrindavan, let your mind run wild and free to all of the pastime places of Krishna. From Keshigat to Vangshivat, Nidhuvan, Sevakunj, the banks of Jamuna, to Govardhan, to Barshana, to Rawal, to Nandagaon, to Terkadamba, let it run wild and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna. This is the way to control the mind, and always to remember the names of Krishna. But here, when Gurudev came to anger, Krodha Begam, what did he say? Don't be angry. It was interesting. He said, you can control your urge to speak. You can control your urge of your mind. He came to anger and he just said, don't be angry. And it was like, he said, great personalities like Arjuna and Hanuman, because they are pure devotees of the Lord, they might be able to control their anger and use it in the service of the Lord. But what about us? He said, if we become angry, we will only see through the lens of anger, and everything will be like red. We will only see everything through our lens of anger. And he said at that time, it may be even that any Vaishnava or any sadhu, any pure devotee comes in the vicinity, and you will also curse at them. So don't be angry. In this connection, there was a Katha that was told, I've heard it a few times by different Vaishnavas. I believe it was Tulsidas who was speaking about the glories of Sri Ram. Wherever the glories of Sri Ram are being spoken, who goes to that place? Hanumanji. So Hanuman went there, but looking like a sadhu. Like any ordinary human sadhu. He went there changing his form, and he was listening. At that time, Tulsidas Ji was telling about the Ashoka Grove, where Sita was. And he said, it was full of Ashok flowers. It was so beautiful, full of white flowers. That person, the sage sitting in the audience, said, no, it wasn't. It was red. And he said, no, it was white. And the person, Hanuman, sitting he was like, no, it was red. And Tulsidas said, how can you be so sure it was red? Here in the Shastra it says it was white. And he said, because I was there. And then he revealed, I'm Hanuman. And Tulsidas Ji said, because you were so angry at that time when you went there, you saw everything red with anger. So you saw that this grove of white flowers was red. So both of them were right. He saw through his lens and he's seeing through what Shastra is saying. So this was a very valuable lesson. Hanuman was feeling afraid that maybe I burnt Sita in that fire. So after that, they decided to build a bridge.
One thing is that when Hanuman came back and Ram said, you are the best of servants, not only did you test the army, not only did you find Sita, you tested and saw the strength, you know all of the ways around Lanka, you've realized everything. So you are the best servant, but I have no kingdom, I have no wealth, I have no way to repay you.
You all heard that? So Ram was telling him how he was the best servant. He said, but I have no wealth, I have no kingdom, I have nothing to repay you with. There's nothing else that I have except for my affection. So he pulled Hanuman toward him and embraced Hanuman to his heart. Because Hanuman gave himself to the Lord in every way. So, what does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? As one approaches me, as one serves me, I reciprocate accordingly. So Hanuman gave himself in every way in service to Sri Ram. And Sri Ram, having no other way to repay him, also gave himself. He pulled Hanuman into his heart and gave him a beautiful embrace. And then they decided that they were going to build a bridge to Lanka. there's still remnants of that bridge. If you see the satellite photos of India and Sri Lanka, you can see that there's a bridge under the water. Some remnants of that bridge. Supposedly they've actually done tests on the stones of under the water there, those stones from that place, and found that they were not local, that they were brought from so many different locations. So I believe it was Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. He actually did some research on this and published an article, which you can find, I believe, on purebhakti.com. So they decided to build a bridge. How? By throwing stones into the water. And it had to be enough so that this bridge could support thousands and thousands of Vanara monkey warriors, to be able to bring them and their supplies across so that they can fight against Ravan and reclaim Sita. So they began collecting stones, massive stones from all over. First locally, and they were bringing them, very powerful Vanaras. They were bringing these massive stones and throwing them into the water. As they would throw the stones in the water, they would say, Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram. Sometimes it is said that they would write Ram on these stones. As they would chant the name of Ram or write the name of Ram and throw these stones in the water, as if by miracle these stones would float. And so millions of stones were brought from all over India. And they were throwing them in the water, and gradually a bridge was being built. One interesting history. Hanuman was also going as far as the Himalayas to collect mountains and stones to throw in this ocean to make the bridge. One such mountain was Govardhan. As Hanuman was jumping back from the Himalayas, carrying Govardhan toward the south, as he was coming over this area, Braj Mandal, he heard a voice from the sky. And that voice from the sky said, whatever you have in your hand now, place it down where you are. The bridge has already been completed. So Hanuman, he immediately put Govardhan down. At that time, Govardhan, who is no ordinary mountain, Govardhan is a personality. Govardhan was very upset. I was going to be utilized in the service of Sri Ram, and now I'm not going to be able to be utilized. He was very upset and very angry. He even wanted to curse Hanuman. But Hanuman told him at that time, don't worry. When Ram again comes as Krishna, he will perform so many pastimes all over you. His feet will be all over you, and he will perform such beautiful pastimes in your caves. So just be here. All of your desires will be fulfilled. So then Govardhan was pacified. This is also when the Lord appears in any place, his dham appears first. So Govardhan is part of his dham. Hanuman was one of the reasons how Govardhan appeared. In different kalpas, there's different ways how the props, you can say, of Krishna's pastimes manifest in the dham for him to perform his pastimes. So Hanuman went back to the south. At that time, there was one little squirrel who was trying to help. That little squirrel was taking like little pebbles and sand and throwing it into the water, trying to help. And Hanuman began to laugh at him. Hey, what are you doing? Move out of the way. We're trying to do some important work here. You're in the way. And what use is your little grains of sand and little pebbles? Can't you see the size of the mountains that we're throwing in? And Ram stopped Hanuman. Hanuman, you should understand that he is doing the best according to his ability. And you are doing the best according to your ability. So I see you as equal. Not that just because you're throwing big ones that you're more valuable. He is giving everything he can. In this connection once, our Srila Gurudeva, we gave him everything that we had. But one devotee gave him a donation, a very small donation, some thousands of dollars. And his response to them was, why is it late? And how come that's so little? And they went back to their room weeping and crying. And we went back to their room also to pacify them. And they said, I know why he's treating me like that. He sees that you've given everything, but he knows that I've only given a small percentage. I can spend that every day for my own enjoyment. That much. Every day for my own enjoyment. But you gave everything you have, and he took it that way. And he saw that I only gave a little bit, and he took it that way. So in the same way, Sri Rama is telling Hanuman, don't be so egotistical that you're doing such a big thing. Look at, he's also helping to the best of his ability. As our Gurudeva would be, I remember in the festivals in New Braj in Badger, California, Gurudeva would glorify all of those who were speaking Harikatha, all of those who were doing Kirtan. When he would glorify those who would do the dramas, everyone would be like, Haribol! And especially the cooks. Everyone would be so happy and cheer the cooks because the prasadam was so good. He would glorify everyone who was helping in every seva, and then he would save the best for last. What was that? And my most mercy and my most blessings go to those who are cleaning the toilets. You know those portable potties that fill up with stool and they're really nasty and no one wants to go in them? Especially because they get very messy and dirty. There was one senior devotee, disciple of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. His name is Chiranjeev Prabhu from Hawaii. He made that his seva. And he was overseeing the cleaning of the toilets. And Gurudeva would say, my most mercy would go to him. He was taking that lowliest seva. Our Gurudeva would say that if the toilets were not clean, then everyone would be disturbed. Everyone would be disturbed in their seva and they would not be able to continue peacefully. But because he is doing this seva, then everyone is able to be in class, do kirtan, take prasadam and do everything else peacefully. So my most mercy and blessings is going to him. How beautiful and sweet is that? So Ram was telling to Hanuman that he is doing the best he can. It's not just about how great. I'm going to give another example. We know that when Krishna went to see Duryodhana, Duryodhana had a feast prepared, thousands of beautiful preparations, and he invited Krishna to come. Come, I'm inviting you to lunch. But because Duryodhana had no love for Krishna and also no love for the devotees of Krishna, Krishna had absolutely no hunger whatsoever. He said, I've already taken my meal, I'm full, I'm not hungry, I refuse your offer. But then Krishna went to the house of Vidura, and there, Vidura's wife, Vidurani, only had some bananas. That's all she had to offer. But because she had so much love and affection for Krishna, Krishna was completely attracted to her love and affection, and she began to peel those bananas and offer Krishna her love and affection. But because of her praying, she became confused, and instead of giving Krishna the banana, she was feeding him the peel. And Krishna was taking that peel and relishing her love and affection through the medium of that offering. It was so sweet, so nectarian, and so wonderful that even when her husband Vidura came, he said, hey, wait, what are you doing? Stop, you're giving Krishna the peel, not the banana. Krishna said, what have you done? I've never tasted anything so wonderful. As she was doing, oh, that was so relishable. The Krishna relishes even the mistakes, the apparent external mistakes that a devotee makes, when that mistake is made in prema. How the gopis run to Krishna, makeup only on one eye, half of their jewelry, some of their clothes are mixed up, they're completely disheveled, but they're running to Krishna in the middle of the night to serve him. And seeing this, his heart is overwhelmed with joy. How his devotees have eagerness and greed to serve him. So, after that, I remember hearing Sri Ramachandra, he was petting that squirrel or chipmunk for serving and helping in such a nice way. And it is said that from that petting, that's where those lines came on the back of the squirrel, by Ram petting the squirrel.
I think those squirrels are only here.
I don't know.
India.
Maybe
I've only seen them in India.
you haven't seen chipmunks with white lines on their backs?
No, I don't.
That is said to be the history of how they got the white lines when Ram was petting. So as all the Vanaras were throwing these stones in the ocean, Ram had noticed that as they were chanting Jai Sri Ram or writing his name and throwing him in the ocean, these stones would float. So Ram decided, oh, I want to see, maybe I can test and see if I throw a stone in, if it will float. So he took a stone and just threw it in the water, and it sunk immediately. Our Gurudev said that Ram was in the forest, kind of a little bit concerned. And that time Hanuman met him. And he asked Ram, what's wrong? What happened? He said, all of you, you're throwing stones in the water, and they're floating, but I threw a stone in the water and it sunk. And Hanuman said, all of these stones that we're throwing in, they're exclusively used in your service. So they are floating out of joy and happiness. But that stone which you have thrown away, he feels, I have no reason to maintain my existence. He sinks like dead matter. So this is one lesson. That if the Lord throws anything away or discards anything, he does not feel that he needs to maintain his existence. But that thing which is utilized in the service of the Lord, that is where life comes from, because everything is meant in the service of the Lord. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam says that those who do not engage their energy in the service of the Lord, they are like walking dead bodies. Walking dead bodies. If one does not utilize their energy in the service of the Lord, that is what it's meant for. Then you're considered like dull matter, like a walking dead body. What is the value? Interesting, isn't it? So this bridge was constructed to Lanka. And Sri Ram, Hanuman, Lakshman, all of the warriors, they crossed this bridge. And we know a massive battle ensued. Massive, massive battle. Thousands of Vanaras, monkey warriors, and thousands of Rakshasas were killed in these battles. Very powerful warriors with mystic power also were casting astras. Some of them were even coming to Ram and Lakshman. The son of Ravan, Meghnad, he cast a special mantra which was like snakes which bound Ram and Lakshman. And this is when Garuda came, those snakes left, and this is when Garuda began to doubt. How is it that these snakes can overpower Ram and Lakshman, but just by my presence they disappear? Indrajit also was able to cast very powerful weapons, and he actually pierced Lakshman with a, what was it? Javelin or something like that. At that time, Hanuman, as he was always serving, he went to get a doctor for Lakshman. But there were no doctors among the Vanaras, so where did Hanuman go? To the Ayurvedic doctor of Ravan. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he went to that doctor. The doctor said, no, I won't help you. Hanuman said to him, it is the duty of a doctor to be completely impartial. They should never see anyone as a friend or an enemy. They should just do their duty and help them. This is, I think they call this the Hippocratic Oath. A doctor takes a vow that I will not be partial. I will help someone if they need help. I will not judge them based on whatever situation. Still, this doctor did not want to go. Hanuman reached underneath his house, picked up his whole house with him in it, and brought him over to where Lakshman was, and then told him, heal him. So this doctor Ravan went to Lakshman, was testing and checking, and he said, there's only one thing that can help him. It is called Sanjeevani. And he explained what this herb looked like. Special flowery herb from the Himalayas. And he told Hanuman exactly where to go and get it. So Hanuman jumped all the way to the Himalayas, and he was searching in the location where he was supposed to, searching for that herb. but he wasn't sure which one was which. He didn't want to waste any time because Lakshman's life was hanging in the balance. So what did Hanuman do? He uprooted the entire mountain. What was it called? Mandara? He brought the entire mountain back and placed it down so that they could find that herb and administer it to Lakshman. In this case, I'm remembering also in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. When Nityananda Prabhu was very young, in Ekachakra, all the boys used to perform these Ram Lila pastimes. And it was instructed, Nitai instructed, that I'm playing the part of Lakshman. At the time when Indrajit pierces me and I fall unconscious, you, the boy who's playing Hanuman, you have to go and get this herb, and this will revive me. So when they were performing this pastime, at that time, Nityananda, playing the role of Lakshman, was pierced by the weapon of Indrajit, and he fell unconscious. But because he was so absorbed in his role, he actually fell unconscious. And everyone became so upset, they were freaking out. They were like, oh my God, what to do? And the parents were running, what's going on? What's going on? No one knew what to do, but there was one older man. He was witnessing. And he said, didn't he say at this time that you would have to go and get the herb, the magic herb, to help wake him up? Sanjeevani. They said, yes, yes. So the boy who was playing Hanuman, he went and he came back and said, this is the Sanjeevani herb. And they administered this to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who was quite young at the time, and he woke up from that. So this is also proof Nityananda Prabhu is non-different from Lakshman, non-different from Baladev Prabhu. So Hanuman was serving in every way like this. And then, after some time, of course, the battles were continuing. Ravan's brother, Kumbhakarna, who had a benediction that he could sleep for a very long time, he was woken up and disturbed in mid-sleep, which made him a little weaker than usual. But he was massive. It is said he was, I think, 10 miles high. Rakshasas can be very big. Putana was 12 miles. Agasura was 8 miles long. This Kumbhakarna, the brother of Ravan, was 10 miles. This shows the power of sleep. If you get good sleep, you will be strong and big. So Kumbhakarna, he also fought very valiantly. He was eating so many of the bananas. He was fighting so much, it is said Sugriva cut his nose off. Because he was fighting with Sugriva also. Excuse me. And gradually, eventually, the fight came to Ravan. Ravan was extremely powerful. He had attained so many benedictions. He used to pray to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, he very easily gives benedictions, especially to demons. That's why so many demons worship him. Lord Shiva's nature is that he is very easily pacified and he's very kind. Why does he so easily give benedictions to demons? Because demons come to him and ask him to fulfill so many of their material desires. One after another, give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. And Lord Shiva just wants to meditate on his Lord. Don't disturb me, I want to go back to my Harinam Jap. Ram, 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 Ram. Or sometimes, Kada Karishyasi Hamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam, as is spoken in Urdhvam Nayatantra. Lord Shiva is telling all of these beautiful glories of Srimati Radhika. So he's glorifying his beloved lords. And so many demons come to him and he's just like, take it, take it, take it. Don't disturb, don't disturb. So Ravan also was worshipping Lord Shiva. He was very, very powerful, extremely powerful. Even though the Devas were afraid of him. It is said that he was able to go everywhere and conquer everywhere. So Ravan, at that time, he came and he was fighting very valiantly with all of these monkey warriors. And eventually, Ram, he cast the Brahmashtra at Ravan. And this Brahmashtra killed him. But I want to share one thing that I read yesterday. I think it is extremely essential. I read this from our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. And it's in his book, his biography, and also in his book called Going Beyond Nirvana. There's another, what is it called? Mayavad Ki Jivani. So he's telling who Ravan is. Ravan was the chief of the Rakshasa dynasty and was the son of Vishrava Rishi, who was in turn the son of Pulasya Rishi. There's a whole other story with Pulasya Rishi, we won't tell it now. Vishrava Rishi left his place of residence in Brahmavarta and stayed for 5 days in Lanka, where he married the daughter of a Rakshas. Ravan took birth from the womb of this demon's daughter, and was thus half Rishi and half Rakshas. So Ravan was half Rishi. He was well versed in all Shastras. So was Hiranyakashipu. If you look in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a whole section, Shri Hiranyakashipu Purvacha, and there he is telling the most amazing Jiva Tattva. So just because someone knows a lot of Shastra, a lot of Kathas and everything, it doesn't mean that they're actually a devotee. So we should be very careful for this. Our Gurudev warned us. Once we were in Govardhan, and he said, there are those who are so knowledgeable. For every shloka you know, they will tell 100 shlokas. And for each of those shlokas, they'll tell another 100 shlokas. And they will speak so beautifully, even Harikatha, that thousands of people in the audience will be weeping and crying and feeling so much. And in the end, they will say, Soham Tattvamasi Aham Brahmasmi Shivoham, meaning I am Brahm, I am God, or we are all the one, and everything else is just illusion. So our Gurudev said, you should be very careful. Just because someone can speak eloquently, we should not necessarily fall into their trap. They might actually be a demon speaking eloquently. So here, Gurudev says that Ravan can be called an Advaita Vadi. Pardon Gurudev. He can be called an Advaita Vadi. For prominent philosophers in Acharya Shankar's line accept him as the first commentator on monistic Advaita Siddhanta. Advaita means non-dual. They don't accept the form of the Lord. They don't accept the individual jiva, and they don't accept the love and affection between them. This means they don't accept Krishna. They also don't accept Radha, and they don't accept the love of Radha and Krishna. Therefore, they are against love or against Radha, Appa Radha. So the Lord takes it personally, this philosophy, like an arrow to his own heart, that someone is against his devotees and against the love that his devotees have toward him. The Buddhist Sampradaya's Lankavatar Sutra also states that Ravan was a well-known Advaitavadi and Shunyavadi Rishi. Advaita means singular, oneness, monism, non-duality. And Shunyavadi means zero, nothingness. So in Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaja's Pranam Mantra, there it says, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. He has come to uproot. Nirvishesh means the idea of only oneness without variety, and Shunyavad, or the idea that everything is, well, there is nothing, that the goal is just zero, cease to exist. These two ideas he has come to uproot, and he's come to give what? Gauravani Prachar, the message of Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, which is that Krishna is the topmost worshipful form of the Lord.
We have to finish tomorrow.
Oh my God, more? We have to finish more. Let me just finish this point. So here, the Buddhist Sampradaya's Lankavatar Sutra also states that Ravan was a well-known Advaitavadi and Shunyavadi Rishi. This shows the similarity between Advaitavad and Shunyavad. The Mayavadis want to take away the potency of Brahm, means of the Supreme Lord, in order to establish that the Supreme Truth is powerless. So they want to take the Shakti away from the Lord. Shakti means power or potency, to show that the Lord is powerless. Ravan tried to steal away Sita Devi, the eternal potency of Parabrahma Sri Ramachandra. For this offense, the great devotee Hanuman dealt a powerful punch of Bhakti Siddhanta to Ravan's heart. A powerful punch of Bhakti Siddhanta to Ravan's heart. This vanquished Ravan's Advaita Gyan, and he fainted and fell flat on the ground. How powerful was Hanuman's punch? This is the punch of the Bhakta, destroying our tendency toward Advaitavad and Shunyavad. Bhakti is so powerful. Then Sri Ramachandra used the unerring, means it doesn't deviate from its path, the unerring arrow of Veda Dhvani. By chanting a particular mantra, one can cast an astra. So in this case, the Brahmastra, which was empowered by Vedic mantra. So Ramchandra used the unerring arrow of Veda Dhvani, the sound of the Vedas, to cut off Ravan's 10 heads, which signify the 10 principles of Nirvana. That is the significance of the deliverance of Ravan.
Wow.
So this is from Acharya Keshari, Sri Sriman Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami, his life and teachings. The 7th part, evolution of Nirvishesh Advaitavad in Treta Yuga. So it's very interesting how all of these pastimes also have correlations into our lives, direct practical connections, what kind of lessons we can take from this. Even in the demons that Krishna killed in Vrindavan, like Putana. What does Putana represent? She's a real demon, and this pastime is real. But for us, what does she represent? False guru. She comes dressed in a very beautiful form, like Ravan. He came to Sita, and she came to take Krishna. So coming to take our bhakti, coming to take our faith, our shraddha. So all of these demons have these correlations. So in this case, our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj is showing us what these pastimes also practically mean to us here and now. That Sri Ram is Parabrahma Sri Krishna. He's always endowed with his Shakti. You cannot separate Shakti from Shaktiman. Otherwise, the meaning of Shaktiman would be moot. And there would be no meaning of Shakti either. There's no meaning to Radha without Krishna, and no meaning to Krishna without Radha. There's no meaning to Ram without Sita, or Sita without Ram. But still the demons want to make Ram powerless. So the devotee, with a punch of his fist, casts out any other conception other than the conception which is spoken by his Gurudev, that pure transcendental truth. He cuts that down, and then Krishna himself, in the form of Shastra, Veda, completely obliterates any remnant of that conception which is opposed to the nature of the soul, which is pure bhakti. So at this time, Sri Ramachandra successfully killed the 10-headed demon Ravan, who had kidnapped his Shakti, Sita Devi. Sri Ramachandra ki jai, Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. So from here, we will have to continue tomorrow. The pastimes of Ram are so beautiful, so exciting, and they have so many valuable lessons for us.
And after tomorrow, we'll begin again going beyond Vaikuntha.
Hopefully, if we can finish tomorrow.
You can.
Okay. So, yes, I just wanted to share that so many powerful teachings are present within the teachings of Sri Ram in Ramayana, Ramcharitmanas, as we have learned from our Gurudev and our Guru Varga. One interesting thing I noticed about the lectures of our Gurudev, if you go through all of them on Ram Navami, he's mostly focusing on all of those pastimes that have to do with the mood of seva and the mood of love and affection. Mostly those pastimes. The moods of seva and the moods of love and affection. He didn't focus so much on the weapons that were used and the different demons that were fighting and all of that. It was mostly about and also the moods of Maryada, because Ram is Maryada Purushottam. So the lessons he was teaching to the people for our benefit about doing the right thing, Gurudeva would focus on these things, but especially the love and the affection, the moods of separation, those moods that would bring about a feeling in the heart of the listener of devotion to the Lord. This was his main focus. So with this, we will end with one kirtan. Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Rupananda Guru Varga ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Rama
Nityananda Prabhu
की
ki
जय।
jai, Sachinandana Gaura Hari
की जय
Shri Radha Bihari ki
जय
Shri Radha Ramana Sarakar
की
ki
जय
Harinam Sankirtan ki jai,
जय।
Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai,
जय
Madhav Titi Ekadashi ki jai,
जय
Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai,
जय
Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari
हरि
Hari
बोल।
Shri
Thank you.
Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki
Jai. Thank you for joining us. Please come back tomorrow.
Radhe Radhe
Radhe Radhe. Drummer extraordinaire.